Hi, well, thanks for joining us today, folks. My name is Rob Aubrey. I'm your host of Productive Agent Podcast, which is powered by Aubrey Home Loans. And today we have our special guest, Miss Liza Martinez. So Lisa is part of our top producer series. And so anyway, just take it away, Lisa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm so grateful to be in that group.
Yeah. And and I say this all the time, when something I never realized when I planned this, because this was not something, I did this on purpose. I researched the software and, who to talk to and blah, 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 blah. And so anyway, one of the side benefits I never really counted on was I get to just like hang out with cool people because we're always so busy that like we may cross paths, but we don't get to hang out.
Right.
And so I've gotten to hang out with a lot of really cool people. And
That's awesome.
yeah, it's so anyway, so tell us, so how long have you been in real estate? Tell us how long you've been here. Or oh no, who are you with? First of all, your name's Liza Martinez. Who are you with?
Liza Martinez, Realty One Group Signature is my brokerage.
Okay,
My personal company is LM Homes and Design.
got
And
it.
yeah, so people think when I say LM Homes and Design that I'm a designer. I'm not a
Right.
designer. I design accessibility projects for my clients. I have a lot of disabled veterans and they need adjustments done on their home. So I have a client that's an amputee. We built an easily accessible front porch and then put steel railings in the back of his house.
Okay.
We've done kitchens for wheelchair veterans.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the design. We design accessibility for new homeowners
Got
if
it.
they have service-related disabilities, or actually we don't care if it's service-related or not. If you have a
Right.
disability and you want this house and
Yeah, we
it's
can help you.
hard to get in, we can help you with that.
Right. And there's renovation loans for those too, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we donate 10% of our profits back to the veterans.
Okay.
My husband is a contractor and I really just volunteer him.
Yeah. So
So
I am a veteran. I know what volunteers are. They say I need 3 volunteers, you, and you.
yeah, exactly. That's
That's it.
exactly how it started out. I didn't intend on that being part of my services that I provide, but I tell you what, if you see someone with an issue, you should just jump in and help if you can. And
Oh,
that's how
absolutely.
that started.
Who hasn't, it's been around a while and productive. Who hasn't done, who hasn't cleaned windows, right? Who hasn't swept
No joke.
sidewalks,
Yeah.
mowed lawns, whatever.
Painted. How many door
Right.
jambs have you painted to get a VA loan across the
Or
finish line?
whatever deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're part of, are you part of Utah Agents Facebook group?
I'm not. I should
Oh, yeah.
do that.
Yeah. I just posted in, they just came out with, the VA handbook's called the 26-7. They just made some updates that they're not going to be counting. They won't count. There's 3 things they put, but like one of them is medical collections. They won't be counted in your DTI. So there's some things to help the veteran get a home.
Which should definitely be the case. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
especially, well, even regular credit. So if there's a collection that's under $500, the reporting agencies they're not supposed to report it anymore. And then any medical collection that was paid off has to be removed from the credit report, which is a big deal because there's a difference between paid off and then once it's removed, then your scores start spiking.
Oh, that's incredible. That's great news.
So, but and those are for medical collections under 500. I think that started last July, but but now the VA just came out with one today. I just got the email today, and they said as of now, but you can do it now, but at January 1st it has to be. So, but yeah, no, I love VA loans. Like I said, I am a veteran. I own a home on a VA loan. I immerse myself in the VA loan knowledge. And so I actually teach a CE class called Myth Busting the VA Home Loan. So if you do a bunch of them, there's a lot of crap myths out there from the listing agents.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think 99% of my business are veteran buyers and sellers and their family. And
Good.
then that probably other 1% are their friends.
Right.
So I'm 100% on board with VA.
Right.
My
So
husband is,
so I'm not going to tell you the myths. You already know what they are,
I already know the myths, and I love to just let people talk and just tell them, oh yeah, I'll help your VA buyers. It's so difficult. Just let me take them off your hands.
Right, right, right.
I mean, who hates, like, yeah, I hate it when
VA loans are easy.
yeah, well, I hate it when my clients are on time, have their paperwork complete, and know how to fill out and sign documents in a timely
Right.
manner. It's awful.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
no, but
military people know
seriously,
how to fill out forms,
yeah, they know exactly how to follow instructions. They know how to listen
Right,
when you're telling them how the process is gonna go. They trust you when
right,
you're sharing with them how you're gonna take care of them through the whole process. And really, my goal is to be their realtor for life, not just
right.
for this one particular home loan, because
Absolutely.
my buyers are PCS on an average 2 years after they're here.
Yeah.
So,
Who moves?
let's sell that.
There isn't an industry that moves more than the military,
Correct.
you
Yeah,
know,
no doubt.
even if you're not in a military town, there's still a lot of veterans.
Well, I mean, I would maybe say that Utah is a military state. We have Hill, we have so many military installations
Right,
here. If you're in northern Utah, you can be Army, Air Force, I
right,
don't know, it's the whole Utah is military happy,
right.
and we embrace military families, and I don't
Yeah.
know. I
I've
don't
done
even
some research. Florida has 21 military installations.
name any Christmas.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, so that's my next state of license.
America.
Yeah. So how did you, oh, that's awesome. I love the fact that you have the whole mindset of, if they're a disabled veteran, that needs modifications of the home. I mean, you're in there, you're just like jumping on it and just like,
Yeah,
we
we'll
got your
just do
back.
it. We'll
Yeah.
just do it. If you fall in love with the home, I
We'll
don't
fix the
want,
doorways.
yeah, I don't want something small like that to be an obstacle for you when it's easily adjusted.
Right.
Easily, no
Right.
problem.
So how did you happen to get into real estate? How does, everybody's got their story on that.
Geez, I I feel like real estate called me. I didn't call real estate. I'm an operating engineer, 30 years, journeyman. I was working for my husband as his number one engineer. We had a project up on top of Suncrest. 3 other contractors walked off the job because it was too scary. They called my husband. He said, oh, do you have someone that can dig foundations up here for you? It's a pretty steep grade. And he said, oh yeah, I got the top operator. I'll send him up. And I got up there, I get out of my truck, I think 3 different guys were like, who are you looking for? I said, oh, I'm not looking for anyone. That's my
Right.
track hole over there. I just get in the track hole, I start digging. People would show up from out of state because a lot of people were buying homes sight unseen, just
Right.
a lot. And then they would show up and stand in the street staring at me, digging their foundation. And I'd yell out, is this your home? And they'd say, yeah, this is so cool. And people would stand there and film me digging the hole for their house. And pretty much 9 times out of 10, I'd say, oh, there's one that's finished down the street. I'll walk you through it. And I'd get off my track hoe in my Carhartt overalls with my buddy boots on and walk down there and walk them through a different house. And I can't tell you how many people said, boy, if you were a realtor, we would have bought this house from you. And one day I just told my husband, like, what do you think about me getting my real estate license? This would be so cool. I kind of love it. And he had another house that he had renovated, and the owner was holding an open house to sell it. And I just happened to be there, and I knew every single thing that he had done to the house, and was literally selling the house to every prospect that was walking in, while the real estate agent didn't know anything about the house.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, I think you should try it. So I got my license in 2019, and I hit the ground running. I took every single class that you can possibly take, and I still kind of do the same thing today. I just got out of a class right before we got on to talk today, and I just implement every single system that real estate agents, lenders, title companies, everything that they suggest, every bit of data that they have, every bit of information, I implement that in my daily work life. And I try to learn every single thing that's new as it's happening. I use data as predictors for what I
Yep.
think might happen soon. I just love real estate. I think it is so amazing. I think it's such a great opportunity for someone to change their path of wealth. And
Yep.
you know, I just love it. I love it. It called to me, and yeah, instead of boots and overalls, I'm wearing blazers every day and hitting the streets showing houses, and I just love it. I love
Right.
it. You can be from any walk of life.
Right.
Every single agent that you meet is completely different human being.
Right.
And they have
Yeah, there's
different
no
skills.
template agent, you know.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool.
Right. Yeah, and I agree with that. And the thing is, there's so many different like veins and avenues you can take.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like you specialize in, military and especially disabled. I mean, what a niche that is, right? And then, there's, I mean, people first time home buyer type things. I mean, there's just,
Yeah.
seniors. I mean, there's just so many different, investors, you can work with. I mean, and that's just residential.
Yeah.
Then you
Yeah.
got, and then commercial, like, resident or office leasing, land leasing. There's so
Yeah.
many different veins. And
So many different opportunities. And I didn't seek out military. I just happened to pick up a buyer at an open house that was VA. And I had already taken the military relocation professional course. So
right,
I felt like I had some suggestions for them. And that person referred me to every person in his unit. And
right.
then that's kind of how it spread. I just started with one person, and I feel
And here we
like
are.
they understood how much it meant to me to do a good job for them. And really, that's what it's all about. The
Right.
person that you're helping, giving you a referral, goes so much farther than your mom.
Oh yeah.
Your mom is your biggest fan, but
But
if this person is
they're
a
the most
stranger,
biased too.
yeah, we don't know, we did not know each other,
Right.
but I did a great job for them, and then it was like wildfire.
That reminds me of the old Benny Hill had a joke. He said, "Did you ever hear about the two Chinese?" And the guy goes, "No." He goes, "Now look how many there are."
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's what you said. It starts out with one person. Now look how many there
Yeah,
are.
yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I
Yeah.
feel like
No.
I'm known in my brokerage now as the VA realtor.
Right.
Um, I'll take it, I love it.
And where are you at? Where do you live? Like what county?
So I live in Draper, but
Oh,
I
okay.
feel like I sell the most real estate in Weber County because I'm at Hill Air Force Base pretty much
Right.
every single day. But I've also sold homes in Tooele County because
Right.
the magnesium plant is out there,
Right.
the Army Depot is out there, and then in Utah County, we have Army out there as well. So
Right.
I'm not regional. I'll sell real estate in northern Utah.
Right.
I have a ton of clients that call me from out of state and ask me about the different areas, and then they tell me what military installation they'll be at, and then I'll show them,
Right.
it's usually the spouse that says, I'd like us to be within 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 30
Right.
minutes. And then I give them the circle around,
Right.
and it's usually not even a circle, it's an oblong, because how our freeway
Yeah.
system
Topography.
is
Yeah.
set up. Some places, if you're 2 minutes from the freeway, you could be 20 minutes to the base.
Right.
Or if you're 10 minutes from the freeway, then you're 40 minutes from the base.
Right.
So it's really all about knowing travel times.
Right.
And I definitely know travel times. I'm in the car, 80% of the day, going
Right.
from one showing to the next. And I help a lot of people remotely. So I'm going to these showings by myself. I'm making videos for them. We're doing FaceTime walkthroughs.
Right.
So they're really trusting me to show them, hey, there's a little hole in the wall here,
Right.
or it smells funny in here,
Right.
or, outside in the backyard, there's 5,000 dog poops that we're going to have to get picked up for you before we close, or,
Right.
they're trusting me for the more.
The lawn's fertilized well.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. So obviously you're working, work what they call database or SOI marketing, right? So do you do any other kind of marketing? I mean, do you actually do marketing or no?
Not really. I
No.
try to attend as many, like military family gatherings and anything like that. I'm a part of a lot of Facebook groups for like Hilla Air Force families. I
Right.
know a lot of people in real estate are great with, um, what is it called? Just helping out. If you need baby clothes,
Right.
I'll call you baby clothes. Utah's amazing. We have a
Right.
gazillion kids in this state.
Right. We have used baby clothes laying around.
Kids are only that size for like 3 months. So their
Right.
clothes are probably going to be like brand new. If you need
Well,
a
yeah, because they outgrow them before they wear them out.
yeah, exactly.
When they're
If you
babies,
need
they're going to boom,
furniture,
boom, boom, boom.
yep, exactly. I don't know. I like networking to help families come in and help them
Right.
with stuff that they need. And that kind of, maybe that's my marketing. I don't know. I'm horrible at marketing.
Well, that's networking. It's not marketing per se.
Yeah, I guess that is, I network a lot. And I don't know. I just like
Right.
to be like the mom of Utah for military families, because when my husband was in the Air Force, we didn't have anything like this. We didn't
Right.
have any Facebook groups. There wasn't, the network that it is today. Your network were the spouses in your neighborhood, and that
Right.
was it.
Right.
Now it's so amazing. I have a
Oh, yeah, it
network
could be network
over the whole
nationwide.
world.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. Love that. Love that. And I love the military niche, you know. So just like I said, being Army, I was in the regular Army, you know, back when an E3 was making 360 a month, so, so yeah, you can imagine, right?
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Yeah, my dad was a Marine. My uncles are all Marines. I have Air Force, Navy,
Right.
Army, all in my family. So it's weird how it just came full circle, and I ended up selling real estate to military because I've been basically
Well,
I
you
was in
speak the language.
yeah, for sure. I mean, my husband was in Iraq and Afghanistan. I know what
Right.
it's like if you're here by yourself and your
Right.
spouse is employed, and I'm here for it.
Right.
Whatever you need. You need me to send you groceries, I'm all about it. The
Right.
world is such a cool place right now because you can help people without being right there next to them.
Right.
I can get on Uber Eats and send someone dinner if
All
I know
right.
they're struggling, or I don't know, if I know one
Yeah,
of
they're
the
unpacking. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's
they're
like,
unpacking. You send the crew of kids to their house to help them unload that U-Haul.
right.
Um, I don't know. It's a cool time to be. It's a cool time to be alive right now because you're not alone. People aren't alone.
Right.
No matter what your issue is, um, you can easily reach out and scoop people up to help. It's
Right.
it's cool. It's a cool time.
Yep. It is. Well, that's awesome. So you said, do you work with because like you said, you send the kids, a gang of people to unload the truck. So do you work with like scout troops or anything like that to help them, or just
I don't. I just know families that have, 5 teenagers, and
right
they'll send those teenagers over to help because
when they
I,
travel in packs anyway?
yeah, exactly, exactly. Or I can call a guy that's the head of a unit and say, hey, are your guys free on Tuesday night? I need
Right,
some help. They'll send that whole unit over
right, and
and
unload it in
I'm
5 minutes.
pizza. Yeah,
Right,
it's super cool. It's just, I don't know. I like to introduce myself to my clients when we're first getting to know each other as your real estate mom. If you
right,
have an issue, I don't care what it is,
right,
I can help you. If, I'm not gonna probably be there unloading boxes myself. I'm a small person and I'm older, so
right, right.
I'm gonna be
But
gathering
I
the,
can get it done.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we don't get paid for what we act physically do. We get paid for what we get done.
I mean, I believe in karma too. Like
Oh yeah,
if you're the kind of person that won't help anyone ever and you have no empathy, when you're in a bind, don't
yeah,
expect people to come running to your aid. But
right,
at the same time, I just feel like the more I can help anyone that needs help ever,
right.
the more that's going to come back to me if I'm ever in a situation like that.
Yeah, I actually built a real estate brokerage that way. I sold my company May of 2022, but I had 100 agents. So, you
Oh
know,
my gosh.
so I, I run that Facebook group, Utah Agents. So, and that's about 12 years old, maybe 11, and I answer questions in there. It's called Utah Agents. So you have to be an agent and you have to be in Utah. And so I vet everybody on the way in and I monitor it. And there's a lot of conversations take place, but I help a lot of agents. I'll call them up because sometimes I'll ask a question. I'm like, that's you can't answer that with a text. You can ask the question, but this is not a text response.
Yeah.
I teach a lot of CE classes, and so I just serve the agent community, and I believe in that same karma. And my company just grew and grew and grew and grew. Because I just give it away. I don't I don't help with the expectation of anything. There's no expectation. I just serve, and because I serve, then my company grew. It's that simple.
That's really the best way to live your entire life is
Correct.
to
Just
just
serve.
give without the expectation of an interest received on
Right.
what you give, because it will definitely just come back to you. And
Right.
in our business, I think collaboration is absolutely essential for your success. If
Right.
you're non-collaborative, you're not going to get anywhere. And if you think
Right.
you know it all, you're crazy. If
Hmm.
you don't think you can learn something new every day,
Right.
you're not making progress. And I
Right.
think that's what it's all about for all of us in this industry, is making sure you're learning every single day.
Right.
Because the thing is we all run into a new problem or a new issue on a
Oh
daily
yeah.
basis. And once you get through that and you, I don't know, not solve the problem, but when you realize how to navigate through that sea,
Right.
um, share the map,
Right.
because someone else is going to come across that same issue or problem. And if you can help them, be on the path to the solution quicker,
Right.
it makes us all look better.
Yep.
And, there's no reason why any of us needs to gatekeep
No.
solutions, because we're all trying to do a good job and we're trying to look good as an industry. And I don't care what brokerage you're with or who your team is. I'm wide
Right.
open to helping with anything that I've struggled through and
Right.
came out of it, you
Yeah, I'm
know.
the same way. And even this podcast, I do it as, do I get business out of this? I don't know. You know what I mean? I have
Yeah,
no way of correlating, a transaction based on a podcast,
yeah,
but I just do it to serve agents, so like, because I've had, like meth cleanup people, home inspectors, appraisers, I've had all kinds of affiliate type people in there. And then of course, top producers, and people learn, and it's, some, a lot of them started out at door knocking, Like, I don't know anybody, so I got a door knock. They just door knocked every day for a couple of years. And,
Yeah,
then they started getting a referral based business. Until you have a referral based business, you have to do something. I mean,
yeah,
what are you going to do? I mean,
right.
we used to cold call, back and cold call to build our database,
Yeah,
because, when you cold call, there was either, the ultimate was to cold call somebody and set an appointment, which is rare. That rarely happens. But then it's like, so either get an appointment, get a get a lead, or get somebody to add to your SOI,
yeah.
or fourth, is trash, but 3 out of 4 is not bad, you know?
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've met someone and they're definitely not looking for a house, but they like me, and then they say, well, my brother has been looking for a long time and he's just spinning his wheels. I'm gonna give
Right.
him contact information. And it's super cool because,
Right.
I'm not selling myself to the brother.
No,
This
you're
person
already
is
sold.
selling myself to the brother because they like me.
Right.
And I don't know. I
No,
just,
they're the best calls in the world. Hey, I
yeah,
got your name and number from Bob and Sally, and I need to sell my house right away. Can you help me? And you're like,
yeah,
yeah, you
yeah,
know,
yeah. Do you know anything about frequency? I've been learning a lot lately about, um, you say that this is for top producers
well,
and
this particular share, not, no, like, I mean, when I do podcasts with top producers so that everybody can learn from them because
no, that's
obviously
the
they have
thing.
success.
If you have top producers on this podcast and other agents are listening to this, that's going to bring their frequency up
Right.
to the top producers' frequency.
Right.
And it's just like that, the 5 people that you surround yourself with,
Right.
they're either
Right.
going to bring you down, pull you up, or you're all going to rise together. I
Right.
just feel like that's why I love collaborating,
Right.
because nine
Yep.
times out of 10, if you're collaborating with someone, they are wanting to improve or they're wanting to learn and
Hmm.
they're wanting to have the solution database for problems that come up in our industry. And I
Right.
just like, I like other people that collaborate and other people that like to share, because I just don't have the mindset that if I talk to someone else that's doing my same job, they're going to steal my
Right.
business.
No,
I
that's a
don't have
scarcity
that
mindset. I
mindset.
don't have that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because other people are gonna like a certain kind of person. Some people are gonna like me. Some people are gonna like my business partner. You
Right.
get what you're gonna get.
Right.
And if you keep a positive mindset and you are always just wanting to improve our industry as a whole and your colleagues' experiences, I just think, for me, that's how I'm gonna get more success, is
Right.
by just being open.
You'll like Utah Agents Facebook group. I mean, like I
Okay,
said,
I love that.
there's over 5,700 agents from Utah in there.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at social media, but I
Well,
definitely
but a
like
lot of
getting
people
on
they
there.
just stalk all day. They read it, not all day,
Yeah,
but a lot, you learn a lot because people, like, you can search, because it's a Facebook group. So you can search keywords in there. So like say
yeah,
radon, let's say you need a radon guy, you type radon and boom, you'll pull up 25 threads that people discussed radon.
yeah.
And then you
That's
could just
it.
read that. Yeah. So there's just, because it's so old, there's so much information in there that anything you search, you can do research in there.
That's good, because I mean, how many times have you been sitting somewhere and been like, oh my gosh, I need this professional right away.
Right.
And you stick your head out of your office and you say, hey, do you have a so and so? And they're like, I don't know, let me ask around. So that's an amazing resource to have, and I'll definitely utilize it.
I have my mute one on. So yeah, I mean, it's, cause I do that kind of like research, like early in the morning, 5 a.m. type stuff, non-production time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's funny. If you are a high producing individual in this industry, you're working during non-working hours, taking care of tasks
right.
that you don't have to be talking to other people. But
Right.
there's so much work to be done. you know, you have your 9 to 5 clients that you can help that for some reason don't have a job during the day.
Right.
And you clock in for your second shift at 5 o'clock when
Right.
all your daytime working clients get off of
Right.
work. And then super duper, like you're just smashing in a ton of work on Saturday because everybody has that whole day off.
Right.
And you have your Sunday work day with all the people that aren't going to church. And
Right.
they think, oh, I'm gonna have you help me on Sunday because you must have so much free time. When
Right.
the
Right.
reality is, like, I don't remember the last time I had a day off.
Right. Right.
It's fine. I love my job. I love
Right.
working. It's
Well, and the thing is, yeah, when my kids were little, it's like I worked a lot of nights and weekends, but I could also schedule in a recital. I just put it on my schedule and went.
right. You just put that in as an appointment and
Right.
it's something that you keep because it's important. Yeah,
Right.
I do the same thing with my son.
Yeah.
My son thinks I
Other
work a
jobs, you couldn't
lot.
do that,
No, it's crazy. My son tells people all the time, oh, you know, my mom is always working, but I've never missed one
Right.
school thing for him, which is cool because some stuff starts
Right.
as soon as kids get out of school and some parents aren't able to make it, but
Right.
I can definitely do that, no
Yeah,
problem.
exactly.
It's just blocking time out. It's, you know, you block time out for something important like this, and then you have to block out
Right.
classes time and CE time, and then your showings. And obviously it's good to keep fluid because,
Right.
you know, if you have a buyer that never can see anything and then all of a sudden they have a half hour open up,
You
that
got to go.
person has to be your top priority.
Right. Yep.
Urgent.
And you were saying about the collaboration. There's a quote. I'll paraphrase it. It says, like producers collaborate. High producers collaborate. Low producers compete.
Oh yeah, that's,
Isn't that a great thought?
yes, that is a great thought, but it's a little bit sad because who are you competing against? If you,
Right.
once you start causing that friction, you're building a wall. And
Right.
what you want is a river. You want a
Right.
flowing, you want a clear path to success. And the only way you can do that is by everyone traveling
Just
the
serving the
stream.
universe.
Right,
Yep.
exactly. 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's what I do. Just serve the universe. And what did Zig Ziglar say? If you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
I
the
think
key is you can't have an expectation for a service. In other words, if I do this, I must get that. You can't. That
no,
that's like adding. If you add a condition to love, then it's no longer love.
right. Wow, I never heard that before. That's crazy.
Right. Because if there's any condition, then it's no longer love.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel like, yeah, I feel that 100%.
Yeah.
I don't ever, I'm actually so excited if someone's asking me for help. I
Yeah.
love helping anyone always, but at the same time, that opens up the opportunity for me to have a connection with someone when I need to ask for help.
Right.
And how could I ask anyone for help or guidance if I'm not
Right.
willing to do that for anyone as well?
Yeah. And I'm the same. Like, like if I hire people to work on my house or something, I pay them right away because you guys are your husband. I mean, you know what it's like to do work and like
Yeah,
be on the draw somewhere down the line.
yeah, yeah,
So when I have subs or anything work on my house, I'm like, I'm like, do you need money today? No, I'm like, I'll give you money if you need it, and things like that. So, and I always tip like my window cleaner, he's like, how much? He said like $90 or $75, and he did the whole house. I'm like, well, how about I give you 100? It's like,
yeah. I have a painter that's that same way. He gives the most insanely low quotes, and
right.
I just tell my clients, like, you should probably tip him.
Yeah. So I give them more money, but I never go to voice. Oh, I mean, I not saying I don't go to voicemail, but like my phone calls get answered. And that's the
Same,
point. That
100%.
right.
That's so funny. Yeah, my painter is like that. When I'm with my clients and we have a paint issue because of a VA appraisal, I'm like,
Right.
I got the guy, he'll come tonight. And they're like, what? Are you sure? And I call and he'll text me, painting, I'll call you in 5 minutes, and then calls me right away. And I tell him, like, listen, I have an appraisal issue finance and appraisal is in 2 days. Can you paint this tonight? No problem. And he's there. He's been there in the dark. He's, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's what goes around comes around. And
Yep.
that's basically it. That's the,
Right.
that's the truth for
I mean, it's
sure.
a golden rule. What does it do unto others?
Yeah.
Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah. I mean,
You
I
know,
haven't had my license for very long, but I know your name. I know like a list of people that are essential in our industry that are givers.
right,
And at some point, I would like to be on that list. I'd like to be a name that everyone in our industry knows, and they're
right,
like, oh, yeah, I've done something with Lisa before. She's great. Or, oh yeah, I had an issue once and I called Lisa and she helped me out. Or, at some point down the road, I've only had my license for 4
about 4
years.
years. Yeah.
So I'm brand new. I feel like I'm super new still.
Right,
I've been in Realtor 500 every year. I want to establish myself as a positive professional in our industry that
right,
people know that they can go to for anything, collaboration, help, I don't know, guidance, advice. Like
right,
there's been times where I've been working up an offer and I've called I have my little list, called an agent that I like working with. I like her style. She's insanely successful, and said, what do you think about this? And she'll help me just adjust a tiny bit. And
right,
then I have success. And
right,
I can't say, oh, my success is because of this person or this one person, or definitely not only my own. I didn't earn my success on my own.
no,
It's been with, a huge tree of amazing individuals that have guided me and, been there for me. I want to be on that list for other people at some point.
yeah. I had a call this morning. She says, I can't get a hold of my broker. I can't get a hold of legal hotline. I knew you would take my call.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. That says so much about you. And that's such a high compliment, honestly.
Right.
That says a lot about you. That's really cool. I'd
Yeah. I mean,
like
it's
to
just
do
who I
that
am,
one day.
so I just serve, and I mean, I have my values for my organization it's, number one is servant leadership. You have to serve, serve the people in the organization and serve the client. And the second one is, and you've been touching on it, the second one is Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese word that means improving, learning. How do I make improvements? So, and they talked about it in a book called Toyota Way, the
I gotta
Toyota
look
Way.
that down.
And then the third one is, it's called extreme ownership.
Oh yes, I love that. I've
Isn't
read
that a
that
great book?
so many times.
I've only listened to it, but I've always called it ownership. And now that I listen to that book, I call it So extreme ownership, just own it. Doesn't matter what happened. There's nothing
Yep.
worse. Like I tell the story one time years ago, I had a listing. I was the listing agent, and it was for a church building for the Nazarene church. And it was a church building down in Provo, right? A Protestant church building in Provo, Utah. I'm like, there's a feather in your cap. How many people could say they've done that, right? And
Yeah.
so anyway, so I'm dealing with this like district president up out of Idaho, and this is a guy, a high ranking person in the denomination. And so anyway, I had the listing, and so we're about 2 or 3 days from closing, and I get a call from the buyer's agent or the buyer's title company. And they said, hey, look, we never heard back from your title company. I'm like, what? I'm just assuming I haven't heard from anybody. I'm thinking. So I call my title company. I go, hey, what happened? And the assistant, she says, well, I called them. And I'm like, and, it's like, and so she wasn't owning it. She's trying to blame it. She's blame shifting. So I'm like, so I called the escrow officer and I said, look, you know, we just got to get it fixed. I mean, whatever we got to do, let's just get it fixed. So how long is it going to take? And so we're going to be like a day late. So the buyer was okay with it. They weren't, I mean, I had a property that they couldn't, you're not going to find another one like it. And so anyway, so I had to call my client, and my conversation goes like this. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that the ball got dropped. I'm 100% responsible. I'm on top of it, and we're going to be about a day late. He said, okay, let me know let me know when we're done. I mean, that's the conversation. It's
That's
none of this,
awesome.
none of this. You can't finger point. I mean, I've always had that mentality. And
Yeah.
then I listened to that book. I'm like, this book rocks.
Yeah, it is such a good book. I feel
Mhm.
like it should be required reading.
Well, for any profession,
Yeah, honestly.
just be an adult.
So my son, I have a 12-year-old son, and I will have that book going in the car, and he's listened to it also. And I mean, anyone can benefit from that book.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like, I mean, obviously the war stories obviously excites guys, to listen to these stories. I
Mhm.
mean, they've done a really good job of, taking a combat scenario and then weaving it back into the business.
Right.
They really loved how they did that. That's pretty slick.
Yeah.
It was a smart book.
Well, the SEALs that come out of the military are one of the highest,
Sought
like the
after.
highest level of success in business after military life.
Right.
So it's all about teamwork, um,
Right.
building, but
Just
that's
getting it done.
also what we're talking about too, collaboration, like
Right.
industry coming together. What's our goal? Our goal is to get people home ownership. That's
Right.
the goal. If
Right.
we all work towards that goal, we're all working together.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, exactly. So I had a thought and then it squirrel. Let's see. It was something, you know, I love it. It's one of those pop culture phrases,
Yeah, I
that
love
we
that.
in the real estate industry know, So, but there's something about, oh yeah, that just like the teamwork. It's just like, back to, you know, and I want to work, like I try to surround myself, when I was an agent on the streets, but I haven't been an agent on the streets in years, I mean, now I'm in the mortgage, so my power team, my processor and assistant, all that kind of stuff. And so you just have to, everybody's got to be, and then, so when you have a good listing agent, a good buyer's agent, if you have a processor, a transaction coordinator on either side, and your two escrow companies and the mortgage side of it, they're processing everybody's got to be, we all want the same thing. And you hope that everybody gets their ego out of the way and just like everybody chips in. And it's like,
Yeah,
there's nothing like two good agents and a good loan officer, that just, and the buyers and the sellers are like, well, you guys made that look easy. I'm like, well, yeah, but what's that old saying? You see the guy that's like, you didn't see, when they started out at 9 years old and they were at practice at 5 a.m., these
right.
Olympic skaters and whatnot, I mean, how many times did they get up at, 4 o'clock to get somewhere by 5, or
Yeah,
4:30, for years and years and years. Yeah. And when they go out on the ice, they make it look easy, you
yeah,
know, and
yeah,
that's what we do. And not comparing it to Olympic skater, but the philosophy is still the same. The reason why
right.
we make it look easy is because we've done so many and a good collaboration. There's
Yeah,
nothing worse than being in a transaction where the other side is just like, I'm like, I remember one time I was telling the listing agent, I'm like, I was representing a buyer. I'm like, we're trying to buy the house. I'm like,
right.
I'm like almost crying. I'm like,
Yeah,
will you allow us to buy the house? You know? And what
yeah,
happens is, I have to represent my client. Well, yeah, you do. And you should represent your client. But if you represented them so much that the deal failed, well, then you failed at your job.
yeah. There's
Yeah.
really no room for the whole ego thing
No.
behind it, like saying how you should just put the ego aside. That shouldn't even be part of our business.
And
We're
emotions
just
too.
really problem solvers, and you're not gonna always get what you want, but you just
Right.
have to do the best that you can get
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
figure
You
out what
negotiate
that
the
is.
best deal.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
I remember being a listing agent and the buyer's agent was a highly emotional. The buyer was high strung.
yeah.
And then the agent was no better.
Oh my
And then
God.
like, so then the agent would take on the buyer's emotion. And I finally pulled the agent aside and said, hey, look, your client needs you right now to be unemotional about this. We just need to, they bring enough emotions to the table. We don't need to bring ours. I like to
Right.
use the pilot analogy. You're on the plane and like turbulence, like, the plane is rattling and you're like, jump in your stomach, you can feel it. And then the pilot gets on the mic and says, hey, we're hitting some rough air. We're going to take this thing up a few, 1,000 feet, whatever, and get out of it. Right. But meanwhile, like one guy's on the microphone, the other guy's up there white knuckling through this. Right. But we don't see the guy white knuckling. We just hear the guy saying,
Right.
hey, everything's going to be okay.
Yep.
So would you rather have that? Or what if the pilot comes running down the aisle screaming? How's that going to make you feel? You can't be the pilot running down the aisle screaming. You got to be the guy on the microphone.
Yep.
And it's saying
100%.
everything's going to be cool. That's what our clients need from us.
Yeah, I think my son makes fun of me because he said that my motto is no problem.
Right. No problem. Yeah.
Yeah, even if there's a problem, I'm gonna get us through it. So it's no problem.
Yeah. Well, there's two types of people, I always say. There's those that go, well, I don't know. And those that say, well, we'll just figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know which are you? I mean, I know which one you are, but I mean, that's what I ask people. You have to be the one that says, we'll just figure it out. And I've summed up life in, like, all life situations in, it's literally, let's see now, so it's literally 5 words. I mean, and it's only 5 syllables, 14 letters, right? And like, it's the secret to life.
Oh no, what is it?
Now what? We say, now what? So no matter what happens, the first thing you say is, now what? Right? And then once you identify what is, then your next simple question is, well, how can I? That's it.
Yeah, that's
Those,
good.
those two simple sentences, well, you can solve anything with it, because no matter what arises, I'll give you an example. I developed a solution. It's a direct mail marketing solution that been partnering with agents where right now we're just starting with apartment complexes, but I have figured out a way where I can send postcards, and through technology with QR codes and everything, we can tell which addresses read in our mail.
What?
Yeah,
No way.
way. So, and it's
Whoa.
one of those. So I started out with, so here, I'll give you the story. And this is a how can I, right? How can I? Now what? How can I? So I
Yeah.
started out with, I was creating an email campaign for renters, right? So I could generate loan business. And then so now I'm like, great, I chat GTP, I get all the topics, I get these 25 emails. And then I'm like, great, now where do you get renters' email addresses? I'm like, okay, that's like, okay, so that's not going to work. And I know a lot about direct mail marketing. When I have my brokerage, 100 agents, I have all this equipment that I produce my own marketing, my own mailers. And so I said, well, what if we can do just a postcard? What if we just had a headline and a QR code? Say the cost of waiting for rates to come down to buy a home, and just a QR code. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Then I could tell how many people scanned it. Then I said, how can I get a unique QR code on each postcard? So because
Whoa.
I asked that question, I figured it out with technology. It took me about 2 weeks, but after 2 weeks, I'm like, I got the solution. I'm like, bang. So now I can send out 5,000 postcards. Every postcard has a different QR code, and it's tied to an address. So
That's
when they
crazy.
so when they scan the QR code, I can go in to the back of the website and look what campaign. So each agent's tied to a campaign, and I can tell, and then we have an ID number, and then we just correspond it with the address, and boom. So then what we do is we send them a handwritten card. Just say, hey, I wanted to introduce myself. We don't tell them we know, because that's a little spooky.
Yeah.
But then we send them a handwritten card. Say, hey, just wanted to introduce myself. So I put it's actually a postcard. I put it in an envelope. I sign it with thanks my name on there and mine and the agents. And then I hand address the envelope, put a stamp on it. But anyway, but that's a perfect example of now what? How can I?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Right.
That's so cool.
So, but that's, that's it's my mindset. I'm like, well, we're going to figure this out. You know, it
Yeah.
took some emails, some phone calls, and voila, here we are.
That's really cool.
But I approach everything that way. I mean, I built a real estate company. I was recently divorced. I had a tax lien. I finally got it paid down to where the tax lien was released. I still owed the back taxes, but I couldn't start a company with a tax lien. So I got that all done. I had like $2,500. I'm living in a small apartment, I mean, after a divorce, that type of stuff. And I had a vision for my company. And, and part of my company vision was, we're going to have 100 agents. We're going to have all this in-house direct mail marketing equipment. So my agents were doing all their SOI marketing for them on a routine basis. And if they wanted to do just listed, just sold, they just filled out a form. Boom, it got, they made, they sent them the invoice, they paid it, Venmo or PayPal, and boom, we fulfilled the solution. Everything was done.
Wow.
But I visualized that, like I said, recently divorced, living in a small apartment with $2,500, and I built a company, sold it, 100 agents and sold it. Now I'm doing the mortgage business, and the thing I just described, it was really for me to generate leads. But then I stepped back and said, this is a viable business. So I'm perfecting it now with my own lead generation. And then as I develop it, then I'm actually going to start using it, because I figured the other industries that would take it would be solar, right? So anybody that does residential that maybe $10,000 price ticket or more, solar, roofers, real estate mortgage wholesalers, guys that do flips. So they're all candidates for this product. So, but I want to get it dialed in, and then I'm going to start going after those guys.
That's way cool.
So, but it's back to that, like I said, the mindset. I don't, because if I said to you, figure out a way to, some people, if you say, can you, create can you send a postcard out that we could tell who's reading it? They're like, well, no. I'm like, well, I don't know. Sure they can. They just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
So anyway, enough of that. So
QR codes are cool.
yeah. And it's, because I want to appeal to their, because I mean, we all get so much mail, right? So you're trying to like, you're trying to pique their curiosity,
Yeah.
because I mean, they get so many emails, their mailbox is full of stuff, it's like, I think our next one's going to be, when your lease is up, do you know where you're going to live? And just have a QR code that they scan it.
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah. And then on that, so when they go to that landing page, we have two signups. One is they sign up for a home buyer webinar, or they can sign up for weekly email tips. So, because our goal is to collect their, contact, because we know their address, we don't know their name. So when you buy an apartment complex list, you don't get their name and their name and phone number. You just get their address. Because if you go to the county record and you look up the apartment complex, it might be 2 lots, and you know who owns the complex, but you don't know who the occupants are.
Right.
So anyway, yeah. So that's it. So yeah, just when I had my company, I built our websites for for transaction documents and everything, how to submit a file to the company, all that. I'm just that kind of nerdy guy, So
I feel like we are like the successful people in our industry are a really strange cross between
right,
social and nerds. And
right.
you have to know the data, but you also have to be able to connect with people.
That's correct. In the technology world, the guys that make the most money are the ones that have enough technology skill and that know how to talk to the consumer.
Right.
because the guys that really know the technology, I mean, they have no social skills.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to call people, you know. So you need that guy that knows enough about the technology that they can talk to the tech geek guys, you know, so that they can go have the conversation with them and then go back and have the conversation with the other people. So you need to know how to do both. You know, that's we're that person in the middle.
Yeah, we are that person in the middle, especially realtors, like our clients want to feel comfortable with us. But they also, I think part of that comfort level is having an agent that has all the data and it's
Right.
up to date because it changes every day. You gotta
Oh,
wake
daily.
up
Yeah.
first thing in the morning and check the data
Right.
and see what's going on. And you can be everyone's best friend, but are you gonna know how to get through the nitty gritty when the negotiations start? Are
Right.
you gonna help your clients, get to that sweet spot where they're not wasting money on a house? Or
Right.
if you're the seller's agent, are you gonna help them get to the sweet spot where their net is high enough for it to make sense?
Right.
I don't know,
This is the most we're going to get.
yeah, it's a crazy balancing act of being caring and friendly, but being cutthroat and protective at the same time.
Right. Well,
You
and
want all
sometimes,
those traits.
yeah, and I always say that, we walk such a balance, right? Because I try to give the example, right? You have a listing, it's listed for $500,000.
Mhm.
The whole market knows it's worth 475. Right. The only one that doesn't know is your seller, right?
Right,
I mean, the
yeah,
whole MLS knows it's 475,
yeah,
and your seller has to sell. And if they don't sell it, they're going to have financial trouble. So if an agent calls you up and says, will your seller take 475? As a listing agent, we're not supposed to weakening their position.
right,
So I always say, hey, look, you know, the way I would answer that question is, would your seller take 475? I would just say, hey, you know what? I'll present that with a very positive attitude.
yeah,
But the thing is, but here's the question though. If I were to say, yeah, my seller will take 475, because, let's say we had that conversation, but I know they're going to be in trouble. And so then the question is, did I weaken my seller's position or did I do my job and get the home sold? Where's the balance? I mean, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but
I
but
think
it's just
all of
like,
us struggle, and we all tell ourselves that we all ask ourselves that statement on a
right,
regular basis.
right. Yeah. It's back to that thought where, yeah, you represent your client so much, the house failed, the deal failed.
Right,
Well, what kind of job is that?
yeah,
So anyway, so that's kind of, it's a definite balance that we walk. And it's a real fine line
yeah.
because it could be argued if you said they'll take 475 and you got 475, did you weaken their position? I don't know.
Yeah, because what if you could have gotten 480?
Right. That's the question. But we've been on the market at 500 for so long that nobody's making offers.
Doesn't mean you need to go rock bottom though, just to get
Right.
that.
No, I know. No, but that's but I'm saying I know they're going to be in trouble if we don't sell.
Right,
So that's it's an extreme example.
yeah.
And like I said, I'm not looking for a right or wrong answer. It's more designed to be thought provoking.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're not doing a good job if you're not asking yourself that,
Right.
I feel like you're just as a good agent, you should be checking like, well, I mean, it has been on for a long time, but did something just close 2 days ago
Right.
that would support your price that you could
Right.
use as a
To
bargaining chip
negotiate. Right.
with the buyers and bring them up from that 75?
Right.
I don't know. I just think it's
No,
definitely,
I agree with it. No, I agree everything what you're saying because
yeah,
it was more of a philosophical question than a
yeah,
mechanical question,
yeah, yeah.
you know? So, yeah. Uh, So anyway, so yeah, that's just been fun. Like I said, my, kind of, what's the word? Unknown benefit. It was just getting to hang around with cool people. Cause I find that,
Yes,
producing type people just have like similar mindsets.
yeah.
So
I agree 100%. That's like that whole frequency thing I was telling you about.
Right.
If you
Got to
surround
get in the
yourself,
flow.
right, exactly. You also, though, if you surround yourself with peak producers, people that are highly motivated, that's not going to give you the opportunity to be lazy, because
Right.
you want to stay, if you want to stay neck and neck with those peak
Right.
producers. You don't ever, I don't care who you are. Once you get a taste of doing a good job, you don't want to not do a good job. You don't
Right.
want to fail. You don't want to be in the bottom, 50%. You don't want to
No.
be part of the agents that only close one transaction a year. Once you hit a certain number, is your goal that number for next year? Heck no, it's 20 more than, for
Right.
next year. Once you hit that goal, is it gonna, you're
Right.
never, you surround yourself with people that are constantly improving, you are going to constantly improve. If
Right.
you surround yourself with people that are constantly working, you're going to want to be constantly working. I come into the office Monday through Friday, no fail. I treat my business like it's a business.
Right.
I don't treat my business like, oh, I got my real estate license so I could have the freedom to work whenever I feel like it.
Right.
Yeah, no, I time block. I
Right.
have tasks that I have to complete for my business every day. And
Right.
then on the weekends, when my brokerage's office isn't open, I'm working in my home office, or more likely, I'm doing open houses or showing homes to my
Right.
clients.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I agree with that 100%. If this is such a cool industry. We have the opportunity to know a lot of cool people, and we're all different.
Right.
Just because, you can be around the Gucci girls and then also be around the jeans and sneakers girls, and you can all be doing well. But
Right.
it's because you're all working and you're all trying really hard and you're all
Right.
focused on tasks. And I don't know, it's a cool
And
industry.
and focus on serving your clients. I mean,
Yes, exactly.
see, when your clients know, um, like, I try to, when I sit with somebody, my goal is to convey to them that I exist to serve your needs. And when they know that, when you ooze that from, from truth, it's a truthful, not faking it, don't be, when that's authentically real, they crawl across the table to sign the contract
Right. Yeah.
because that's
100%.
what they want, because they
Yeah.
have a problem. I mean, we're problem solvers and project managers, if you think about it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what's the problem? Well, me and my family, we live here, but we want to live here.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
It's a major project.
I love
So
solving that problem.
yeah, oh, me too.
That's
Me
one
too.
of
I
the
love it. It's
problems
a
to solve.
puzzle. It's puzzling, and a puzzle. It's like a little bit of chess playing in there. If I do
Yeah.
that, are they going to do that? How far can we push without killing the deal? That kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah, for
You,
sure.
there's the other agent are they a strong negotiator? Like I had an agent one time in my office. They were like, he was complaining about this other agent on the other side of the transaction, and I'm like, and I asked them like, well, do they communicate with you effectively? Oh yeah. Do they like, they, all this and that and that? And they're like, yeah, 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 yeah. I finally said, it sounds like to me you were just out negotiating and you don't like it. It's, and they're like, I'm like,
Oh,
I
that's
want to know
fun.
who this agent is because I want to recruit them.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
and the
Yeah,
agent was
that's
like, yeah, I
funny.
guess you're right. They were just out negotiating. And they weren't happy.
Yeah, you just had to put that in perspective. Hopefully they learned from that.
Right. Yeah. What's the old saying? Either learn or make money. One of the two.
Right.
That's a
Yeah,
Robert Kiyosaki quote.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. So it's already so well, we already hit an hour. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Well, it was so nice to talk to you. I
Yeah.
enjoy, I don't know, discussions like this just help you prove
Yeah, you're
exactly.
not nuts.
Like, yeah, we're not nuts, but we're also collaborating. There's like other people that are like-minded and just want to do the best job possible. And you can
Right.
only do that by everyone. Like nobody's successful all on their own by
No,
themselves in the universe solo.
no.
We're all a huge group woven together, um,
Well, and
trying to accomplish the same goal.
success requires dealing with people,
Yeah,
because regardless of what industry or business you're in, that no matter what you make or sell, somebody's got to buy it. You
right.
know, if you make something, somebody's got to make it.
Yeah,
Somebody's got to buy it. So
yeah.
you're dealing with people all the time. There was this one book I read or listened to. I think it was something about dreams. And what they did, it was a cleaning company, and they had just like this major turnover ratio, like 70% turnover a year. It's just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and so what these people, they like had like a dream counselor. They figured it out that everybody that worked there. So what they did is they examined a problem. One of the problems were, because they were a cleaning company, a big cleaning company where they had lots and lots of people working for them. So they found out that one of the problems was transportation. So then they solved that problem. They hired like a couple vans and a couple drivers. And they said, they kind of like, if you can get to a certain location, we'll pick you up here and we'll get everybody to work. And then the other one they started with was, um, they would bring you in and tell me your dreams. And they're like, well, I want to own a home. And okay, let's create a plan. And so the dream counselor would help them on a path to create a plan. Okay, and in order to do that, you have to have like a down payment or whatever. You got to get qualified for a mortgage. Let's talk to a mortgage person. And so they developed a plan. And so they systematically went through this whole company and got everybody, what's your plan? My plan is to, have a house big enough so that my mother can move in or whatever. What it didn't matter what it was. I want to be able to take my family on a trip, regardless. And so, and then they went through the whole company and helped everybody with their dreams. And then they went from like a 70% turnover to like 10% turnover in like 3-4
Whoa,
years,
that's crazy.
because nobody would leave the company, because they gave them they figured out their transportation problem,
Yeah.
and then they helped them with all their dreams.
Whoa, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's great. I forget the name of the book. It's in my Audible couple hundred books that I've listened to.
Man, I think we kind of do that in our jobs though too. Like how many times have you had a buyer that wasn't even close to ready and you
Right,
walk the process to get ready and you give them advice like don't be late on any payments,
right.
like,
Don't be
or
using that credit card. That'll kick your
yeah,
butt.
for people when we get under contract, don't go buy a new car, don't get
Right,
another credit card, don't do this, don't do that. This is the plan to get through this successfully. Stick to the plan.
right. And that's all it is. Yeah. And so that's what that company did. They had I forget what it's called. If I think about it, I'll email it to you, because
Okay,
it's a great book. Yeah.
that's
So,
super cool.
well, if somebody ever wanted to get a hold of
But
you, like, so Lisa, you're obviously you're a collaborator. Somebody called you, you'd more than happy to take their call, right?
absolutely,
Right.
for
So,
anything, like if you're in the industry, I'd love to collaborate. If you're not
right.
in the industry and you want to buy a house and you're a first time home buyer or you're not, call me. I'm into it.
How
I'm
to,
always
how
working.
did I get, what's your number? Say your number.
801-696-4331.
Okay. Perfect. Yep.
You can Google me pretty easily too. The internet is pretty amazing for tracking
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. If people say they can't get a hold of me, I'm like, you haven't tried. If you Google me,
Yeah,
I'm like the first 300 pages.
seriously, that is so funny when people say that because honestly, if you know my name, you can
Right.
track me down, period.
Yeah. I have so many websites. I mean, yeah, anyway, enough of that. So, well, it's been awesome. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I
thank
mean,
you so much for having me. I really appreciate you taking the time with me today. This has been really cool.
my absolute pleasure. So, well, thanks for joining us, folks. This is Productive Agent Podcast, powered by Aubrey Home Loans. And our amazing guest today was Lisa Martinez. So, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so